Hello and welcome back. The World Darts Championship is 10 days away, and this year we've got an increased field. 128 players, a total of 127 matches, an increase on last year from last year's 95. That probably means we'll probably see 128 dartboards used. Anyway, in this video I'm going to try and predict all of the games because we've got this little website that lets you do predictions. So I'm going to try and predict every single match. There is a giveaway for this video and it's one of my playing shirts. If you're a subscriber, hit that like and comment on this video. You'll be entered and we will pick a winner for this the day the World Darts Championship starts, the 11th of December. So hit that subscribe button and do the predictions with me. Round 1, Luke Littler versus Darius Labanauskas. I'm picking Luke Littler, obviously. Wow. That's a bit of a mouthful name. David Davis. I'll be honest, I don't know either of these players. I'm going to go with David Davis, just because it's easier to say. Joe Cullen versus Bradley Brooks. See, Joe Cullen is in the top 32, but I'm going to go with Bradley Brooks. Mensur Suljovic or David Cameron. I'm going to go with Mensur Suljovic. And these new darts are absolutely fantastic, by the way. They are available at Double Top Darts, affiliate link in the description. Damon Heta versus Steve Lennon. I think the Heat takes that one. Top 16 player. I think he's got that win. Raymond van Barneveld versus Stefan Belmont. Is he the Swiss #1? I think he is. I am going to go with Barney. I think Barney beats Belmont. Rob Cross versus Cordecker. Regretfully saying, Rob Cross is not having a great year, to be honest, but I am going to back him to beat Cordecker because he's a former world champion. Ian White versus Mervyn King. Ian White would be the favourite there, but I'm going to back Merv. Chris Dobie versus Zong. Chris Dobie. Gilding versus Crabtree. What a lineup that is. I've met Cam Crabtree. What a player. Great player. He partnered one of my mates in the Pro-Am. Finn Golding. Shout out Finn if you're watching, pal. Both good players. Cam... I really like both. I'm a big fan of Gilding. I'm going to go Cam Crabtree. Luke Woodhouse versus Big Boris. This is good. Woodhouse has not been too great recently, but I'm going to back him. Martin Lukeman versus Max Hopp. Martin has been struggling since, was it the Grand Slam performance last year? I'm going to go Max Hopp, you know. I'm going to go Max Hopp. Gerwin Price versus Adam Gawless. Gezzy. That's an easy one. Lucas versus Wesley Plazier. Ooh, both good players. Both very good players. You know what? I'm going to back Plazier. Big Wes. Ryan Joyce versus Owen Bates. Fantastic. I think Ryan Joyce is finishing. One of the best finishers in the game. Krzysztof Ratowski or Toyle. Oh. Bored of watching that one already, but I'm going to go Krzysztof. Sorry, Toyle. Stephen Bunting versus... Well, I'm going to upset a few of you here. I really am. I apologise for this. I am a big Bunting fan. Just let that be what... I don't know. I just seen this and I thought, oh no, Biaki's going to beat Bunting. Don't know why, and I apologise if it comes true. I'm sorry. I think Bunting's great, but I'm going to go Bialaki. I'm going to go with Kumar. Dirk van Dijvenbode versus Andy. Dirk van Dijvenbode. James Hurrell versus Stowe Bunce. James Hurrell. Schindler versus Burton Schindler. Keane Barry versus Tim. I'm going to go Keane. Nearly. Ryan Searle for that one. Brendan Dolan versus Travis. Yeah, I'm going to go Dolan. Johnny Clayton versus Adam Lipscomb. I'd love Adam. I'm a big Johnny Clayton fan, but I'm a massive Adam Lipscomb fan. Another person I've met personally, and he's a lovely lad, and I'd love him to earn a load of cash and get up them rankings. My heart's saying Adam, my head's saying Johnny. I'm going with Johnny. Dom Taylor versus, yeah, I can't say that. Dom Taylor. Michael Smith versus Lisa Ashton. I think this is a really good draw for Michael Smith. Don't get me wrong, Lisa's a brilliant player, but I think having a bit of confidence there, Michael Smith will win that one comfortably. Niels Zonneveld versus this guy. He's from New Zealand. I've not seen him play too much. I'm going to go with Niels Zonneveld. Ross Smith versus Andres Harrison. Right, I have seen Andres Harrison play, and he is a tough cookie. So is Ross Smith, absolutely brilliant player on the Palace stage, but he's not done too much recently. I'm actually going to back Andres Harrison. Thibaut Tricol or... Yeah. I'm going to back the Japanese player. Dave Chisnell or Fallon Sherrock. I love Chizzy, what a player, but he's having a rotten year, really. I'm going to back Fallon Sherrock. The fans will be with her. Ricardo Pacheco or Jose de Souza. I think Ricardo. Sorry, Souza. Luke Humphries versus Ted Everts. I don't think Ted Everts will be a pushover here, but I'm going to go Luke Humphries. Jeffrey de Graaf versus Paul Lim. Absolute limbs. This is a tough match. Really, really tough. I think the fans, because they'll be... My light's gone out. I'm going to go Paul Lim. So let me charge the light. Put 50p in meter. There we go. Wessel Nyman. Yeah, I'm going to go with Wessel Nyman. Gabriel Clements versus Alex Spellman. I'd love Clements to win this. He, again, has been having a poor year. Spellman, great player. It didn't do... Was it Spellman that didn't do pretty well at the Grand Slam? For that, I'm going to back Gaga. Aspinall, 100%. One of my favourites for the tournament. Mickey Mansell versus Leonard Gates. I'll be honest, I don't really like watching Mickey Mansell. The game's pretty boring, and I do like watching Leonard Gates. I don't know who's going to win, so I'm actually going to back Leonard Gates. Mike De Decker versus this guy here. Ooh, David. I'm going to back Mike De Decker. Kevin Doots, yeah, 100%. He's walk-on, just for that. James Wade, yeah. That could be an upset there, actually, I'm telling you. Ricky Evans, yeah. Cameron Menzies versus Charlie Manby. Right, this is where, again, really like Cameron Menzies, met him in person. But Charlie Manby is an up-and-coming player, and I hope he does really well. I hope Cameron does. I wish these two weren't playing each other. I'm backing Charlie Manby. Go on! Matt Campbell versus Adam Seveda. I'm going to go Matt Campbell. USA! USA! Jan van Veen versus Cristiano Reyes. Jan van Veen. Alan Suter versus, I don't know that other guy. I'm going to go Suits. Up the Suits. Dimitri Vandenberg versus Darren. Yeah. Again, he's struggling, but I'm going to go with Vandenberg. Maraz Razma. Yeah, back in you, mate. Michael Van Gerwen versus a Japanese player. Van Gerwen. Willie O'Connor versus Christoph. Willie O'Connor. Peter Wright versus Noah Van Leuven. Tough one, but I think Peter Wright, I think he'll have a good run at the World, you know. Kim Hybricks versus Arno Merck. Kim Hybricks. Gary Anderson versus Adam Hunt. Gary Anderson. Connor Scott versus Sam Willock. Oh. Chuffy neck. Oh. That's a tough one. That is I'll tell you what, the board is going to be knackered after them two have played. I'm going to go Connor. Jermaine Watamina, 100%. Scott Williams versus Nebreda. Ooh, he's good as Nebreda. So Scott Williams, but he flourishes on the big... So does Nebreda. Flip a coin for this one. I'll pick Scott Williams. Danny Noppert versus Jurgen van der Velde. He's a good little player, he's in, but Danny Noppert, it's obviously not been his year, it's been Luke Littler's year, as it always is recently. But Danny Noppert, he's outdone himself, I think. Nick Kenny versus Justin Hood. Nick Kenny. Richie Edhouse versus Tata. I'll be honest, I don't know Tata. I'm going to pick Edhouse. Meikle versus the Argentinian. I'm going to pick the Argentinian. Josh Rock versus Gemma Hayter. Gemma Hayter, absolutely fantastic ladies player. Do I think she can beat Josh Rock? Definitely. Do I think she could do it on the big stage? First time of asking here. I think Josh Rock probably would win 7 out of 10 times, 8 out of 10 times, just where Gemma's at the minute. But who knows? That's the magic of the World Darts Championship. So I am going to pick Josh Rock, just because he's one of the best in the world. Nico Springer versus Joe Camille. Oh, I didn't know Joe had got in. Nico Springer, 100%. As long as he's got over that injury. Oh, no. Darryl Gurney versus Bo Greaves. What a lineup. What a lineup. I think Bo Greaves. Callum Ridds. Oh, he was fantastic last year. Callum Ridds. Right. That is the round of 64 done. We're into the round of the 32. So we're about halfway there. Luke Littler versus David Davis. Luke Littler. He's having an easier one so far. Joe Cullen versus Mensa Sulovic. Can Joe pick his form up off the floor? Joe Cullen. Damon Heta versus Raymond van Barneveld. I'm backing Barney. I know I'll go against the grain, but Heta's not had a great year up to now. So neither's Barney. Brilliant, another advert. Rob Cross versus Mervyn King. Battle of the Baldies, and I'm nearly there as well, so yeah. I'm going to go with Rob Cross. That was close. Cam Crabtree versus Chris Dobie. I think Chris Dobie. Yeah, Chris Dobie. Luke Woodhouse versus Max Hopp. Going to go Luke Woodhouse. Going Price, yeah, beats Plaisir. Ryan Joyce versus... This one's tough. This one's really tough, but I am going to go Joyce. Bialeki versus Kumar. Bialeki. Dirk van Dijvenbode versus Hurrell. Dirk van Dijvenbode. Schindler versus Keen Barry. I think Schindler wins that one. Searle versus Dolan. Searle. Johnny Clayton versus Don Taylor. Johnny Clayton, I think that one's an easy one. Smith versus Neil Zonneveld. Smith. Harrison versus... Harrison. Sherrock, Petretsko. See, the crowd, if that game happened, would be massively with Sherrock. Massively. But I don't think that bothers Petretsko. Humphreys versus Paul Lim. Oh. Again, I think the crowd would be with Paul Lim. But I think Humphreys would do it. Nyman, Clemens, Nyman. Aspinall, Gates, Aspinall. Dideka, Doots. Kevin Doots. James Wade, Ricky Evans. I'd love it to be Ricky Evans. I think this is head and heart. Head and heart. I'm going to have to go with head. James Wade. Manby versus Matt Campbell. I think Manby wins again. Come on, Manby. Up the Manby. Jan van Veen versus Suter. I think Jan van Veen. Madders Rasma versus Vandenberg. That's a close one. Gonna go Vandenberg. Michael Van Gerwen versus Willie O'Connor. I'm gonna go Van Gerwen. Peter Wright versus Hybricks. I'm gonna go Wright. Anderson versus Scott. What a game. What a game that is. And I think Scott could win it. Jermaine Watamina versus Scott Williams. I'm going to go with Watamina. Noppert versus Kenny. Danny Noppert. Edhouse versus... Edhouse. Josh Rock Springer. Oh, what a game. What a game that would be. But I think Josh Rock. Bo Greaves versus Rids. Oh, that gets tough for Bo, that. I think Bo Greaves. Luke Littler versus Cullen. Littler. Barney Cross. Barney. Said that quietly. Chris Dobie versus Woodhouse. Dobie. We're into the round 6. Price versus Joyce. Price. Bialeki Videm. Dirk van Veit. Can't even say it now. Martin Schindler, Searle. Up the Searle. Johnny Clayton, Michael Smith. Michael Smith. Harrison Petretsko. Humphreys, Nyman. Humphreys. Aspinall, Dewitts. Aspinall. Wade, Manby. I'm going Manby again. Call me crazy. Jan van Veen versus Dimitri Vandenberg. Van Veen. Van Gerwen, Peter Wright. Peter Wright knocks Van Gerwen out of the World Darts Championship. You heard it here first. Connor Scott versus Watamina. I think Watamina. Danny Noppert versus Richie Edhouse. Easy one that for Danny Noppert, I think. Josh Rock versus Bo Greaves. I think that's where it comes to an end for Bo Greaves. Josh Rock takes that one. Luke Littler versus Barney. Luke Littler. This is the last 8. Oh no, this is round 4. I don't know. Chris Dobie versus Going Price. We'll see at the end. It does a table. Chris Dobie versus Going Price. Going Price. Dirk van Dijvenbode versus Ryan Searle. Dirk van Dijvenbode. I'd love Searle. Smith Petretsko. Smith. Humphreys Aspinall. First mega clash. I'm going Aspinall. I'm going Asp. Charlie Manby versus Van Veen. Charlie Manby. Peter Wright versus Jermaine Watamina. And I think this is where Watamina would trip, Peter Wright would trip up. Danny Nopper versus Josh Rock. Wow. That is tough. That is really tough. I'm gonna... I don't know. I actually don't know. Let's go with Josh Rock. Littler versus Gerwin Price. Oh my god. Oh. So close between them two, isn't it? I'm gonna have to go with Luke Littler. Dirk van Dijvenbode versus Michael Smith. Again, so close. I think Dirk. Aspinall Manby. This is where, unfortunately, I think Manby bows out to Aspinall. Jermaine Watamina, Josh Rock. I think Josh Rock. Luke Littler versus Dirk van Dijvenbode. Luke Littler. Nathan Aspinall versus Josh Rock. All target semi-final for a place in the final against Luke Littler. Luke Littler versus Josh Rock. I'm sorry. It's Luke Littler. It is Luke Littler. Let me know some of your predictions, some of the ones you don't agree with, some of the ones you do agree with. And don't forget, you can win one of my shirts, and we're going to pick a winner for this the day the World Darts Championship starts by being a subscriber, hitting the like button, and leaving a comment. Thank you very much, guys. I will see you in the next one. To the moon!